the chat room application demo in this video. So first of all, we want to create a chat room application where user can sign in a new account and log in, talk to each other through chat messages in real time. And here are 3 requirements we want to implement in this app. First, we want to authenticate users, meaning register your new account, logging existing users. Second, we want to save users and the messages in our database so that we can retrieve them in any time. And third, we want to enable real-time communications, and so that when user type messages, then it will this message will display on other people's screen right away. For the high-level design, I separate so the front end and back end are running on different servers. So for example, the front end is running on localhost 3000, then the back end will be running on localhost 3001, and when they communicate to each other by calling RESTful API and transfer JSON data. Moreover, I have in the database, I have 2 tables, one for user and one for messages. So I structure my code into several folders. First, we have controller that directly interact with database, and we have entity class that represents a single row of a data table in the database. And third, we have front end. Since it's running on different server, it will also have its own node app. Other than that, we will create front end HTML, CSS stuff. And then we have middleware. The middleware authenticate incoming requests and making sure the incoming request is from authenticated users, so that not all, if you are not logged in, then you are not able to send this call API. And then we have route. The route will define RESTful APIs for endpoints for front end to use. I want to talk about one reference that I use. I follow this tutorial here to implement the chat server. Since I've never done this before, it's very helpful. The way I structure my code is entirely different than the tutorial, but some of them are kind of similar. So first, we have a post function which corresponds to pretty much this function here. All it does is just listening a post event. So if a user hit post, we will send this message to the backend, to the server side. Also, we have a function that check whether user has pressed the keyboard to post message as well. And then we have this method here to listen to the from message from the backend. Oh yeah, also we send socket ID as well along with the messages, so that when we have socket ID from the backend, we will compare that with our current socket ID. If they're the same, we can replace the username with me, and then meaning that this is the user's own messages. Otherwise, we will use userdata.username. We also append a message container, so that is a modular way to append to display new messages on the website for user to see, and we will populate this field based on the backend code, based on backend data. So as you can see in the tutorial here, it's created a base structure, a basic template, so that it will just console log all the chat messages. But in my code, I expand the functionality so that it will hit the RESTful API to retrieve it will hit the RESTful API to save the messages, and also will retrieve the user ID as well. Everything will be saved into this create message response, and we will send this create message response, and along with socket ID to the front end, which here will be we will receive this user data in the front end and append that into our container. Then I also follow one simple documentations to implement user authentication. So for this, I pretty much so the official document use like a raw SQL, crypto to library to encrypt password. It's pretty manual, but on my end, because since I already implement the API, it will be, and my implementation will be entirely different than their. Mine will be more. We'll use RESTful API to get login response. If it's not success, then we display the error message. Otherwise, we proceed to log user into the application. And here are all my references that I use for this pre-assignment. Here, first of all, we have two browsers indicating two different users. So initially, let's try to register a new user. We call it John. We give a password 1234, and once we can register, you can see you are registered. And let's log in with a wrong password. Then you can see it's you will have an error message. Then let's log in with correct password. As you can see right now, you log in, you already have the historical message retrieved displayed here, and let's type something. Since the right hand side we are already logging, and let's type something on the left hand side. We could call it hello there. You can see we have John. John's message is shown here immediately. Then we type something on the right hand side. Hello 123. So the right hand side username is called Frank. So Frank's message are displayed here immediately, so they can chat in real time. So if we try to just log out by closing the tab, and it won't work. So if we try to, it won't work because you still have your login session saved. The only way to do that is you want to log out. Click on logout. Then if you try to access chat room, you won't be able to do that. You will have you must log in first. So let's log in that using John and 1234, and you can see all the messages are still here.